morning, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you can all hear me. Okay, if I start this statement by saying at least 12 young adults aged between 14 and 35 die unexpectedly in the UK every week from undetected heart conditions, that is a fact. And it now escalates probably into the 20s. And my involvement with this and these tragedies and these young deaths that shouldn't really be happening is that on September the 14th, 2009, after a normal evening in my home, I said good night to my two daughters. The last words I said to them was, "I'll text you tomorrow to let you know about the time that you've got to take the dog to the groomers." I said good night to both of them, I love you. And the next time I saw my eldest daughter, she'd died in her sleep and she was dead in bed. Zoe died of an undetected heart condition, and I can only tell you how devastating it is that when you're a parent that you lose your child. Your child shouldn't go before you. You should, in a circle of life, you should be the one that goes before your child. Zoe was taken away to a mortuary where a post-mortem was taking place, and 2 days later from the coroner's office I had a telephone call telling me that they couldn't find any reason why Zoe had died. They'd searched Zoe's room for drugs, for alcohol, for substance abuse, and I know damn well, as a competitive swimmer and a fitness instructor, I know she was very, very anti all these, so I was quite convinced that there was nothing. To lose a daughter, a child, and have no reason why she should die is not what should happen, and I'm a firm believer that I should have a reason why my daughter died. So, after having a heart sent away to be analysed by a local hospital, then we still had no results back. And this is getting really, really frustrating for me because as heartbroken as I wanted answers. So I went on a search engine and I just put in this condition called sudden cardiac death. As it was back in the time, 2009, it was sudden adult death syndrome. And a charity came up in the region of cardiac risk in the young. So I thought, I've got nothing to lose here. So I phoned up Cardiac Risk in the Young, and the actual founder of the charity actually picked the phone up, Alison Cox. And what a start it was for me, because she helped me every step of the way on what I needed to do. And to cut all the rigmarole out, Zoe's heart was eventually released and sent down to the Royal Brompton Hospital, part of the Cardiac Risk Young team, where a lady called Mary Shepherd did a separate post-mortem on Zoe's heart. The coroner actually put cardiomyopathy as a cause of death, and I knew it wasn't. And CRY found the real reason why she died. She died of a condition called Brugada syndrome. However, Zoe lies in a grave with the wrong death certificate, because once that happens by the coroner will not change his mind. And although I fought with MPs, but that's a separate story and another one. So what can I do? Okay, so I wasn't going to sit there. I don't want any other family to go through what I went through. Okay, it's not nice at all, and every day I relive that moment where I saw my daughter dead in bed. So I got off my backside and I started to do things like running, and I did a lot of charity work. I've gone out there not only to raise money, but I wanted to tell people. I wanted to tell people my story, and I've stood on shopping centres, I've stood in car boot sales, I've stood on markets, I've been everywhere to tell people this message. And it's great to be able to come here and tell you what's actually happened in my life. Okay. I work at a state boarding school, and they have embraced me absolutely beyond belief. I think on the first few weeks back after losing Zoe, I was put on suicide watch. They care for me so much. But they've embraced what I believe in. And as the money started to come in, and I have raised a total at the moment, it stands at about £95,000. And in that time, I've actually paid for... Okay, I wanted to save one person's life, but the school embraced me and they've helped me support with the charity. And at the school that we do, we actually have a screening annually for every year 10 child that's coming through the age, because they hit the 14-year-old to 15-year-old mark, which is the start of where these heart conditions can actually escalate from. And if I stand here and tell you I only set out to save one person's life if I could, then we've probably got into double figures now of lives. I've got parents' letters, I've got emails, I've got faxes, you name it. We have saved lots of people. Ladies and gentlemen, this sudden cardiac death is out there big time. It's unbelievable, the detections that they're picking up now within CRY. That their research is going like deeper and deeper, and under the watchful eye of Professor Sharma, that these screenings are done. They have a backup disc that's sent back down to him, and not only is it studied on the day of the screening, it goes back into review when he has it as well, just to double check that these screenings are done properly. The screening itself, okay, they have 100 young adults screened on the day. We have three nurses who administrate this simple, non-invasive ECG, and they have an echogram on the day. The slightest detection that they get is straight to an echogram, that's done on the day, and they are then forwarded then to any more detections down to the local cardiologist at your local hospital. And it's great. What CRI have done now is they've actually got 40 CRI fellows that they've actually funded, trained, and they're put out now into the NHS system. So hopefully now the more people that get detected, they are under the watchful eye of people that have worked with CRI, and they know that it's a different type of ECG than what we'd have at our local hospital, that they're trained to look at the long QT and different parts of it, which is great. They are a wonderful, wonderful charity. It's sad to be involved with it, but I'm proud of what I've done, and it's just amazing. It's just amazing to think that I could have saved one person's life. It's the only death you never have a chance to say goodbye to, and you should be there to hold that person's hand, and I wasn't, and I'll live with that to the day I die, and it's not the nicest of things. If anything you can do for me today, I don't ask for money, but please tell somebody what's happened. I never knew anything about sudden cardiac death. I generally didn't. I'd probably watched on the television Terry Yorath, his son dropped down dead in the garden, and probably Mark Vivian Defoe playing in the African Nations Cup, who actually died running on the pitch, but I'd never heard of it. It's becoming more and more and more widespread now, and more high-profile deaths are happening out there. Or Christian Eriksen from Brentford now, or the former Spurs player, he's had it. Fabrice Muamba, he's had it. They're very, very lucky people, because 9 times out of 10 they don't come back. And when I went to see the cardiologist down in London, because they reviewed me, obviously CRI did, they follow the families through, and they actually want to help you to make sure whether you're clear as well and your children are clear. It's just amazing. It really is amazing what they do for you. So please tell somebody, over a cup of coffee or a glass of wine tonight, tell a friend, at least they're aware of it. If anybody wants these screenings, they are mostly done by bereaved families like me who raise the funds. It's CRI's philosophy that they would like to have a national screening campaign for every 14-year-old. They do it in Italy, and it's cut their deaths down by 80% in Italy. They're in nominal figures now, but we don't do it in our country. We just don't do it. But they fight for this, and I've actually sat in Parliament working with MPs, and a lot of them were just oblivious. They just do not understand what it's like. And I did have a bit of a barney with the one, because he sort of got a bit hoity-toity with me, and I did actually have a blazing row with him across the table. So I think they got my message and what I believe in. Thank you for inviting me.